You know.
Oh well, my ego is a little bit different. My ego done checked out because I don't care. If you had,
but remember, if you were looking for a wife, though,
I don't care. What?
Remember, if you were looking for a wife, now I think that is different on the jump off and a wife.
Yeah, if I'm looking for a wife, we're gonna figure some things out together, and we're gonna have our own little special moves. But as far as
that's what I'm saying.
As far as it goes, busting their backs out, no, you straight. I'm gonna get mine. I'm going to sleep and watch a football game or something like that. I ain't got time for all that. Good luck.
What's up, everybody? It is Dev of the Iron Father, where we are all about men recalibrating, restoring, and thriving. I'm joined today by the Roundtable again. We are back with another show. Got my man Derek in the house and my man Eddie Vance.
Hey.
Yo.
What's happening, fellas? What's happening? Y'all like my shirt? My girl brought me this shirt back when she was gone. Derek, I'm sure you can appreciate it.
Sexy ball.
That's right. We gonna represent.
Okay. I didn't get mine in the mail yet. Okay.
As long as she ain't buying you one, that's the main point.
I'll take a link.
I ain't sharing. So I'm stingy like that. But on that note of sharing, I'm just gonna jump right into this. On that note of sharing, we're going to have to go ahead and start going over some of the comments on some of our videos, because on that note of sharing, we had some guys respond back. Derek, it was the roundtable discussion that we had about a woman's body count. Now, there was two things that we talked about just overall in our shows. And one, we have coming up that I'm going to release that was talking about a dude's size, and we were talking about a woman's body count. And it's funny because we talk about it like, basically guys shouldn't be worried about X, Y, and Z, and kind of, whatever. But, we went into detail, and the main reason I brought it up was for just this reason. I think for the three of us, it may be some areas that we're like, man, been there, done that, whatever, it's past, don't worry about that stuff. But, as they say I'm just going to say most guys out there, especially looking at some of the Reddit comments and whatnot, man, these are issues that most dudes are still worried and concerned about. So we might have to do a little education, if you will, and talk about some things. And we're going to do some education on BDSM as well, because Derek, you made a good point the last show that we might need to define some terms that we may just throw out there. But I'm going to present that in another video. First, let's go over some of the comments that were made before we get to the main topic on about caring about a woman's body count. Now, in that video, we pointed out that a man really should not care. And my point was that a guy that's 50 and over, and I think that's a key part of this, a man that's out here dating again, that's 50 and over, he really shouldn't care, because if he does the math, if he simply does the math, if a woman, let's say, had been single, she got married, and then she was single at 30, and so from 30 till 50, she just sleeps with one additional guy per year. That's 20 right there. I mean, hey, I went to a public school early in my life, so I think I got that math correct. So these dudes were like, all right. One comment was, no, only smart men ask. When you ask, you don't expect her to tell the truth. You expect her to get angry, insecure, and give off other red flags that were still hidden up until now. Please ask. If her reaction is violent and powerful and angry, it tell you more than you imagine. If she takes it easy and gives you a number, it's still a lie, but she is not too far from far from the truth. It got kind of truncated there. So, Derek, what do you say on that one in that response to it?
That doesn't even make sense. I'm gonna ask a question, but it doesn't matter what the answer is. She's lying. So why ask the question? If you think she's gonna lie, then what's the point? That's a ridiculous response to me. I don't know. I'm sorry. If say the reason why, other than she's lying, just say, well, why is it not important, or why is it important to you that you get the body count? Let's talk about the facts of it. Don't talk about the ambiguous stuff about, oh, she lying regardless. You don't know that. You just don't know. What difference does it make? What is your point of wanting to know? What is it going to do for you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why they want to know, and I'm assuming this is his reason. And before I go on to that, let me advocate for the person who made the comment. Maybe he's saying it's kind of like a lie detector. You don't necessarily know the truth, but her response is going to tell you at least that the number what it might be. Now that doesn't answer your question of why you want to know, but I guess he's still saying I can like judge her response to tell me if it's high or low.
Oh, he's an oracle now?
I guess so.
Come on now, what difference do it make? You want to ask the question to judge a response, you should come up with a different question. At a certain age, it doesn't matter what your body count is.
Yeah. The guy sounds like I'm gonna ask you a question and get an answer to some other question I didn't ask you. What?
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Sound like single mother parenting right there.
Oh. Well, you know, the only time his mama did it was when he had him. So when she had him, I'm sure that's her story. But I don't know. Maybe he's saying she lying. I don't know. But you know, no disrespect to him, because again, I know this is how guys think. Now, I did some research, so you didn't have to.
Okay.
I went and did a deep dive on this whole notion of body count. And you know, I tried to use some AI to pull together kind of a meta-analysis on some of the research that's out there, and went back and forth. I will say something interesting that I did find out. And that was, Derek, exactly what you said, but actually what he said as well. According to the research, women are going to lie. And they're going to lie depending on the methodology of the study. So there was an example, because that was something I asked a question about. When you look at the methodology, if the woman is being interviewed directly by someone, she's going to give a lower number. If she is on a computer and she's taking it, she will give another number that's going to be a little bit higher. And there was only one study that was out there, and it was on college students. And what they did, I guess they told the ladies that, you know, this is like a lie detector test. Then the number really jumped, because they were really like, uh-oh, I'm really going to get caught, which goes to show that you don't really know the number, because on average, and the parameters of research in that particular study, the number jumped up as much as 70%. Now, that doesn't mean we should multiply every woman who tells you a number up to 70%, but it does give an indication of a trend that if you ask that, like the guy said, they're going to lie.
Well, but the thing is that when we do these studies, I got a few problems with the study scenario.
Mm-hmm.
How does the person taking the results of the study know the true answer?
You don't.
To say that they're lying.
You don't.
So the other one is, well, when they do a study, they have a tendency of doing X, Y, and Z. Well, we're talking about talking to a person face to face and not on a study. What's the validity of that?
In this case, that was a study, meaning that they asked the women. So you got a group and you say, all right, I'm talking to you face to face. How many men have you been with? And actually they gave the numbers. The number came out to like 2.4 or something like that. Then they asked ladies, well, how many men have you been with on a computer? Then the number was like, oh, 3 points. The average came out to 3 point something, because you can't sleep with 3 point something guys unless we're talking. We're not going to talk about other things. And then
did they ask the same people?
That's my assumption that they did, which is why they said the numbers steadily increased. Now, I have seen this slightly done on a video version where they asked women on camera, and it was really interesting. And I wish I could find that video of how the answers go on camera, where you ended up getting answers like, how many men have you been with? 3. It's like, oh, you had to think that long and hard about 3. But to your point, I think, and I have to point out, with men, they found that men ended up going over just slightly. So there seems to be a little bit of truth to that kind of saying that with a woman, whatever number she gives you, assume is higher. With men, whatever number they may give you is probably about right, and it actually may be a little bit lower, especially if you're talking to young guys.
I'm sorry. My logic doesn't allow that to happen, because where did you get the number to say that they're lying? Did they say, no, I was really doing
Right. You would probably have to be doing the same sample for the same women to know it's a lie. Yes.
Right. And or better yet, let me go ahead and get some receipts and I'll double check that number. I mean, it's just the validity. If you ask me my opinion, that's my opinion of me. Who can tell me otherwise?
You don't. Which leads to.
But yet you're lying.
which leads to. Go ahead, Ed.
What is the purpose of even asking the question anyway? First of all, I don't want to get lied to, especially over a question like that. Lie about something that's going to make me happy. That's not going to make me happy. I don't understand what's the big deal about it. Once you hit a certain age and a certain point, everybody been ran through it.
Well, all right. So here to answer your question, Ed, one dude said, you don't have to ask. A woman with a high body count will have traits and tendencies. Not wanting a woman with a high body count is not about ego. The higher the count, the less likely she will be able to pair bond, which will likely lead to her filing for divorce. There's been studies on this. Eddie, what you say on that one first?
First of all, why are you trying to get locked down with a woman with a high body count showing all of this type of stuff? First of all, why as a man at this point in time are you even trying to get in a relationship? Get into a steady, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be honest. It's about feed me and leave me alone.
Okay, that's one perspective. Derek?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what was the original question.
Well, he was still answering the video that we did. That was his response. But he's saying, and I know his talking point. He's using the classic red pill talking point. A woman with a high body count cannot pair bond. She's more likely to file for divorce.
When you say pair bond, you mean she's not going to sit up there and try to have a meaningful relationship, everlasting relationship with someone at the age of 50 and above?
No, I think actually it goes back into what you just said with the previous study. How do we define it? Because you can only measure a pair bond. You can't measure whether a woman breaks up in a relationship. How could you research that? You can only measure it of basically saying if a woman has this body count, this many women with X amount of numbers, they file for divorce this much. So you really can only measure it by filing for divorce, depending on the number of people she's been with.
When we say pair bond, I suppose we're trying to understand the definition of pair bond.
Very good question, because what is the definition of pair bond? You only can define it by really the result, which is she going to stay in the marriage? That's it. Because you're right. You're exactly right. What's pair bonding? Because is pair bonding physiological? Is pair bonding psychological?
Well, but the thing is, it sounds like an oxymoron, because bonding itself saying stay together.
That's true. Well, he's saying she can't stay with somebody, I guess. She can't stay with another guy. And this is a key. Now, I will throw this in there with you.
Okay. Maybe I'm understanding what you're trying to say. You're trying to say because they have so many partners, they don't know how to be monogamous.
Yes. But again, you can only measure monogamy in terms of a marriage, because you can't measure whether she cheats. You can't measure whether she, let's say, broke up with the guy at 6 months. You only can measure a woman's or a man's, and either as well. You can only measure the number of men she's been with when she got married, and then did she get divorced, and look at those two figures.
Go ahead, Ed.
What is the purpose of the survey?
Because, again, there's the belief.
There's no facts.
Well, right. I won't necessarily. Well, you're right, because we already established with the first one, you don't know whether she's telling the truth anyway.
It's all a guessing game. I'm sorry. I lead by the laws. Whoo, boy, I'm telling you, hot is hot, cold is cold. I don't understand.
Right.
Is this that poly stuff? Is this poly?
Nope. No. That's the opposite. It's the exact opposite.
Okay, so this is how I look at it. Now, to a certain point, we know if a woman is experienced in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. Therefore, they had to get the experience from some other folks. That's the best you got. I mean, legitimately, and you can't put a number with that. You like, look, I like what you do to me. And that's it. If it's to a point, well, you know what? I need you. You don't know enough. I don't want no virgin. right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or do you say that at 50? Because it's a lot of 20-year-old guys that would love to have. It's a lot of 40-year-old dudes that are going back trying to get that 20-year-old girl that, you know, they going overseas, let's say, to find a woman that, you know, she still may be a virgin. And I've done much.
And granted, I get that. And for me, I learned long ago, and I mean real long ago, I don't want a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I can't. You get the first one, it's like, yeah, okay, I got one. Now what? I don't want another one. That ain't gonna do me. That's not gonna keep me coming back.
All right, let me play devil's advocate again, though. Mm-hmm. Would you want a virgin for a wife that you could teach?
No. Okay. No.
Thank you.
Okay, let me ask this. Would you want a prawn star, because we can't say the word, would you want a corn star as well, if it doesn't matter?
Well, I mean, you only got to give me, you giving me two extremes and they're at the other end of the spectrum. I don't want that either.
All right, why not?
Because there's a level for me, sex is also a level of connection. If you got so many sexual partners and so forth, you being the how did you call it, the magic genie or whatever the last time you said it? All right, you on that spectrum, that's completely different. You're doing that like breathing. You've run through so many different types of activities. Whatever move I got, you've experienced it over and over again. I can't surprise you. I like to be able to surprise somebody. But again, I'm not looking for no virgin.
But when they're the magic genie, that's their job. That's their job. So you're supposed to become an expert in your craft and inside your career. I wouldn't expect anything different. Now, I would experience that they have, but I wouldn't wipe it up and keep it next to me, cut it up. That wouldn't happen. So, and I also would not want a virgin. I'm an experienced older man, and I want somebody who's either equally yoked or I can teach you some things, but I prefer equally yoked. The rest of it,
or to some degree.
Yeah, to some degree. Okay. I want a happy medium. A happy medium, I'm all right, because I've been a side dude before, and hey, I don't mind sharing.
Well, hey, let me help you with something. Now, from a male's perspective, we got ego involved in this. So one of the things we want to do is make sure that we can throw a move on a woman that they like, So I can't say equally yoked, because if I'm gonna bust a move on somebody or whatever the case is, I want them to appreciate it and like, I want that again, as opposed to, I did that last week, I did that a couple of years ago, and my ego's still involved.
Oh well, my ego is a little bit different. My ego done checked out because I don't care. If you had,
but remember, if you were looking for a wife, though,
I don't care. What?
Remember, if you were looking for a wife, now I think that is different on the jump off and a wife.
Yeah, if I'm looking for a wife, we're gonna figure some things out together, and we're gonna have our own little special moves. But as far as it goes, that's what I'm saying. As far as it goes, busting their backs out, no, you straight. I'm gonna get mine. I'm going to sleep and watch the football game, something like that. I ain't got time for all that. Good luck.